Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Jung Garden Center, not WBEV, 95X, or Good Karma Brands, even though it is Dick Zondag's 75th birthday today. Happy birthday, Dick. Is he there? All this fanfare and we're not living up to it. Where is Dick?
I'm here.
Oh, you are here. We're getting a really low volume on you there.
Okay. Is that better?
No, it's lower.
Okay.
I can barely hear you. Hello? Hello? Yeah, I'm getting some volume on you, but not nearly enough to answer questions from our great listenership. So we're working on things right now. Again, 88.
Things.
Nope. Okay, keep going. You're getting louder.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Just a tad louder.
A little bit louder.
A little. Okay. Now we're good. Say something scientific. Okay. There we go. Happy birthday, Dick, by the way.
You don't have to repeat that, John. I've had enough of those that I stopped counting.
Yeah, you have stopped counting.
Yes.
Good thing. You stopped at 39, right?
Right.
All right.
And I've been there for a long time and almost doubled that. So.
Do you have any big plans for your birthday?
Yeah, I work until 9 o'clock every night.
Hey, way to celebrate, Dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dick Zondag is the garden doctor. You can wish him a happy birthday if you want. And also, he will answer your garden-related questions. And what is happening at the store, Dick?
Well, we're really, really busy. The bare root room is open. We have a few things left in the bare root room. A lot of evergreens, and there's some fruit trees and asparagus and onions and potatoes and all the seeds that you want for your garden. I did bring along some props this morning, so if you're watching me on dailydodge.com,
that's right, the video stream.
We're going to talk about lawns a little bit. So I bought different kinds of seed mix. We've got the Madison Parks, which is the probably the best lawn seed for a sunny area. It has the several different bluegrass varieties, plus a little bit of red fescue in case you get some in the shady areas. I also brought some shady spot, which is lawn grass that you use in shady areas. It has more of the creeping red fescue in it. You also use shady spot if you've got a heavy lawn, a heavy soil. So if in clay soils, the red fescue does much better. Also brought along the crabgrass preventer. It's not really quite time for that. You want to put that on at the very exact time because it'll last only 6 weeks. So if you put it on now, you probably have a couple weeks where it's not going to be effective. So I usually tell people the time that the forsythia starts blooming in your area, that's the time to get that crabgrass preventer on, because crabgrass comes from seed every year, and you want to prevent it from growing. Now, if you're starting a new lawn, you don't want to use crabgrass preventer because it will kill your bluegrass too when it's germinating. So if you're starting a new lawn, you just apply a starter fertilizer, which I brought along. Starter fertilizer, we can put phosphorus in. The other lawn fertilizers that we have do not have phosphorus in, because phosphorus is what has been going into our lakes and causing algae bloom. So we don't have, we have low phosphorus fertilizers for regular lawns. Then we've got the weed and feed. That you want to wait even a little bit longer than the crabgrass, because you want to put that on when the weeds are actively growing, when the dandelions are starting to put out new leaves and the creeping Charlie starts to bloom. When it's most effective when the weeds are active growing, and the weed and feed will not hurt your lawn. It only hurts the broadleaf weeds, where grass is a little bit different, and so I brought some of that along. We also have a Grub Killer. The only time you really want to use an insecticide in your lawn is when you have problems with moles or voles in the wintertime. And then you want to kill the larvae of the grubs, and that will get rid of the moles because that's what they feed on. We also brought along a couple of products where you can use on spots that are where you're not seeding a whole lawn, and it has a material in it that creates a mat so that grass seed germinates. The only thing that really kills grass seed is to have it start to germinate and then dry out. So that has there. You're seeding a whole lawn. What you want to do is work the lawn, spread the seed, rake it in, roll it, and then cover it with straw, hay or straw, clean hay or straw, because that will keep the surface shaded so that once that grass seed starts to germinate, it has a few days to get the roots down into the soil before the wind dries it out. Along with that, you want to do a different type of watering when you're starting a lawn versus watering a lawn. When you're starting a lawn, you want to water every day, every other day until the ryegrass that's in the mix starts to germinate, and then you can back your watering off to every other day. You have to water, especially when it's sunny and you've got a wind like we have today, because that surface does dry out. And if your seed starts to germinate and that surface dries out, it may kill the germination of that seed. So that's it about grass seed and a little bit about starting a lawn.
And again, 885-4446 is the number to call. 885-4446 if you have a question for the garden doctor. Dick, talk about your other stores that you have, and are the same things available there as they are at your Randolph store?
Right. We have 5 garden centers. One of them is right on 151 as you're coming into Sun Prairie. Very easy if you're going to Madison to stop at that store because it's easy on, easy off. We have a store on the north side of Madison, quite near the airport. It's on Northport Drive. That's Madison North, and the south store is located right on 151 as you're leaving Madison. If you get off on PD, you'll see it. It's right there. They all have approximately the same amount of the same type of products. We have a lot of houseplants now for sale, and they'll have all the grass seeds, and all of the stores that we currently have bare root in them. So if you can't get to the store in Randolph and get to one of those other stores, the bare root will be there. We also have prepackaged roses. Roses like to keep their roots moist, so we pack them in a moist medium, and you can get those in. Bare root can be planted right now because even if we get some really cold weather, as long as the roots are in the ground, that plant is safe. So, yeah. And then the last store that we have is on Highway 10 in Stevens Point. And that was our first garden center outside of Randolph. And we built that store so it could handle all the products that we handle in Randolph. And so, yeah, all the stores have basically the same products. The potted shrubs and trees and evergreens will be available in the stores in about 2 weeks. Okay. And the same way with the annuals and perennials and the green plants, the tomatoes and peppers and petunias and all the flowers will be available in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Again, 885-4446 is the number to call. It'll be a dynamite time to call because both lines are open. Again, we are with Dick Zondag from Jung Garden Center in Randolph. And, of course, we're just coming out of the winter season. Was it a good winter for dormant plants and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it was a great winter because we had an early snow cover, and that snow cover is good insulation. Haven't been out to look at my strawberries. I shouldn't tell you this, but I planted them on my mound, and so I haven't uncovered them yet because I want to keep the strawberry plants a little bit cool so that they don't start to blossom too early. So I have not uncovered my strawberries yet. I'll probably do that in another week or so, and that way and then I'll fertilize them because you want to give them a little bit of extra fertilizer because they're ready to bloom. The flower buds are already in the crown of the plant, and as soon as you uncover them, they start growing, and then in 4 or 5 weeks, you'll start picking strawberries. So we're looking forward to that.
All right, we do have callers waiting now. You're on the air with Dick Zondag from Jung Garden Center.
Good morning, Dick.
Good morning.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering, what is the best fertilizer to put on raspberries, and when should you fertilize them?
Yeah, right now you should fertilize them. Next thing that I was going to talk about was raspberries. What you want to do with your raspberries is rows that are probably 2 to 3 feet wide. You want to trim them down to maybe 8 to 10 to 12 canes per running foot. Fertilize them. Remove any mulch that you have, and then if you haven't pruned out the stems that fruited last year, they're going to be dead. They're just going to take up space. So get in there with the pruning shears and cut those out and fertilize them. Just a regular garden fertilizer is what you should be using, because you don't want to over fertilize them with the first number is the nitrogen, the second number is phosphorus, and the third number is the potassium. And the nitrogen will give you the most effect. It will make your plants grow fastest, but it also inhibits flowering if you use too much of it. So, yeah, a good garden fertilizer, and read the bag. It tells you about how much fertilizer you should apply, and now is the best time to do it before they start to fruit, and away they'll go.
So, in other words, get a fertilizer that's a little lower in nitrogen, you're saying?
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks for calling.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the other line, 885-4446, if you want to get your questions answered. Here we have our next caller. You're on the air with the Garden Doctor.
What do you do when you have a lot of grubs in your lawn and it's killing it?
Yeah. Grubs, the eggs are laid in the fall, and the grubs come out. We do have a grubicide that you can put on with lawn fertilizer, and that will take care of the grubs. We also have products where it's just for the grubs, and as I said before, the problem with grubs is that you'll have moles and voles there going after them, and you'll see little tunnels or little places in your lawn that are raised, and that's because the moles are there trying to eat those grubs. And grass can handle a few grubs without having any injury, but if you've got a lot of grubs, there are fertilizers and there are grubicides that you can put on that will take care of the grubs, and that's the best way to go after them.
Because right now he ripped up the old sod.
Right.
And put new dirt down and reseeded it, but
right.
You should really put a grubicide with it too.
Yes, you should.
Back.
Yeah, that will not inhibit the grass in any way, and it will
because he does fertilize his lawn every year, so he should really be using a grubicide with his lawn fertilizer.
Yeah, okay. That will kill the grubs, and once you break that cycle, it's a while before they'll be able to reinfect the lawn.
Okay, because I know I think this time it's in front of the house. Last couple years ago, it was in back of the house. Such big patches, and it's just dead.
Yep, and so that's what you want to do. You want to get in there right now, and the one that you do use without the fertilizer in it is a liquid that it tells you how much per 100 square feet. And so what you want to do is get a sprinkling can, and then maybe on your driveway, apply fill it with water and apply it to the driveway, and you see how many square feet you cover on the driveway. You multiply the length times the width. Yeah, you multiply the length times the width, and that will give you the number of square feet that you cover with a single watering can, and so then you'll know how much of the pesticide to put in that one watering can full, and then you just follow the same procedure. You just walk backwards with that sprinkling can and treat the amount of area that you treated on the pavement, and that should take care of the grubs.
Is there a waiting period then with rain?
Nope, there is not.
Okay. Does it come in granular form then too?
It does.
Okay.
We've got one of the products here has the Grub Killer in it. And so you can do that either way. You can do it separately with a product that's just grubicide, or you can do it with a weed and Grub Killer.
Okay, I will tell him. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And you're listening to The Garden Doctor here on AM 1430 WBEV, streaming live video on dailydodge.com. Let's go to our next caller. You're on the air with Dig Zondag. Go right ahead.
Hello.
Good morning.
You're on the air.
I would like to start growing some potatoes on my patio.
Okay.
Just a small bucket.
Yep.
And I'm wondering what your feelings are about that. How to start.
Yeah, I have done that. We actually sell a cloth bag that you can fill with a peat-based soil mix, and then you just plant the potato eyes in, or a piece of potato in the top of that, or a little ways down, and then as the plant grows, it will form the potatoes in that container. Now, if you use a pail or something that does not have holes in the bottom, you should put some holes in the bottom so you don't get too much water, so that the water drains out. But yes, that can be done very easily.
What kind of potatoes are the best to use?
Whatever kind of potatoes you want to eat.
Oh.
They all work in that
All right.
situation.
Do you think we have a long enough growing time for some of them?
Sure. All the potatoes that we sell are meant for short growing seasons.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
what happens with a potato is the plant grows until the day length is proper, and then it starts forming the tubers on the root system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can grow potatoes anywhere in Wisconsin.
Okay, that's going to be my fun project.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much for your call. And let's go to the other line. You're on the air with the Garden Doctor. Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm wondering, is it too early to transplant any flowers,
Are you talking annuals or are you talking perennials?
perennials?
Perennials. If they are perennials that are outside and just starting to grow, you can transplant them.
Oh, okay.
If you're buying them in pots and they're green, probably too early, because the perennials that we grow that are green when we sell them have been grown in the greenhouse and are very succulent and will be damaged by a hard freeze.
Right.
So it's best to wait until the middle of May. Or
Yeah.
the other thing that you can do too is if you plant them out and you know it's going to be cold at night, just take a blanket and cover them.
Right.
Because that blanket, there's enough heat stored up in the soil now that it will radiate out as the temperatures fall and keep the plant from freezing.
So it's all right, though, for ones that are in the ground already. to
Right. And if you
transplant.
want to divide them and transplant them there, that would be fine.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for calling.
All right, to the other line. And you are on the air with Dig Zondag from Jung Garden Center.
Yes, I was interested if you'd be able to chat just a few minutes about planting some vegetables in the straw bales.
Oh, sure.
My friend and I are going to do we're going to do a bunch of bales this year, and I just want you to talk about it a little bit.
Okay. And what you can also do is we do have a complete set of instructions on jungseed.com in our library. But basically what you do is you take the bales, you set them so that the ropes are horizontal, so that the ends of the straw are pointing up. And then you put high nitrogen fertilizer on them, and it tells you how much. I think it's a cup per bale. And then water it in, and then you let it sit for a couple days, and then you water it again. And what you're doing is you're conditioning the bales to create a sort of like a compost type media in the inside of the bale. And then you follow those directions. It takes about 2 weeks to condition the bales. And then once the heat lowers a little bit in the bales, then you can start planting. And like I said, it'd probably take the rest of the program to go over the complete schedule, but there is a complete article in the library in jungseed.com, and if you just read that, you can print it off if you want and follow that. There's a day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, all through day 10. and how you treat it. When you put more fertilizer on, you put more water. You put more fertilizer on, you put more water, and then you put a half a cup of fertilizer on, you water that in, and then you wait until the bale starts to cool down, and then you can start planting. I've done bale gardening. I didn't do it last year, but I've done bale gardening for probably 10 or 15 years, and it's surprising how well the plants grow on them. And if you really want to do it right, you plant it next to a chain link fence where you can train the tomatoes and some of the vine crops. You can also grow pole beans. I've done pole beans. I've done carrots. Onions haven't worked real well for me, so I grow my onions in a square foot garden. But things like sweet corn and the vegetables that do well in a mineral soil, I don't use those either. But any of the vine crops like zucchini and watermelons and muskmelons works well in a bale garden. It's a really interesting way of doing it. And the other benefit of doing bale gardening is that once the year is done, those bales are pretty much decomposed, and so you can take those and add them to your regular garden, and it makes beautiful compost and will make the soil much better in your regular garden. Do not try to use them a second year. I had some bales one time that didn't look like they had decomposed very much, and I tried to use them the second year, and they just kind of melt. The only way that you can really do that is if you build a structure around them so that once they do completely decompose, they don't just fall apart.
Okay.
There are also
Thanks,
books.
Doc.
We do have a book in the catalog on square foot gardening too, if you want to really read up on it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. 885-444-61920. 885-4446, the number to call. And let's go back to the phones. You are on the air with Dig Zondag from Jung Garden Center.
Happy birthday there, Richard.
Yeah, thank you.
I have.
If you haven't heard, Dick is 75 today. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Gee, thanks, John.
I have a blue spruce in my front yard.
Okay.
He's about 15 foot tall.
Okay.
And I put the Job spikes in it like I asked you
Right.
last year. And he's growing good, but the thing is, I have a couple of those little branches that stick out one side or the other. It would be a good time to maybe prune that to kind of give it a little extra shape, or
Sure.
just leave it alone.
No, blue spruce, once they start to get that size, the bottom branches tend to die because the blue spruce is not very shade tolerant, and what it's actually doing is shading itself out. So what you'll find is as that tree grows in height, the bottom branches will start to die.
Okay.
So you can go right
like
in and
about
cut.
three-quarters of the way up, that there's like a couple fingers that are sticking out like a foot and a half the other way.
Okay. Well, what you can do with those is just take the terminal bud out. You know, just take a jackknife and go around the tree, and any of the branches that are too far out, you just take that terminal bud, the one that's on the end of the branch out, and what happens then is the buds that are on the side of the branch will break to make the tree fuller, and that way it'll stop it from growing out. So you just
Okay, it'll just make it grow taller then.
Great. I had an uncle that had a blue spruce tree on the seed company property, and every spring he'd go around with his jackknife and just take the farthest out terminal buds out, and that tree was so full and so beautiful.
Okay.
It lasted for a really long time.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the information.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
885-4446 is the number to call, and there is time to take at least one more call here. How about pruning those rose bushes back? How far back should I prune those?
Right. The rose bushes, what you do is you untie them if you tied them up and let them out. And then any of the wood that's dead, you'll find it's brown.
Okay.
And you scratch the bark and it's not green underneath. You cut it back until it is green. And once you do that, if you've still have a lot of twigs in there, I cut them back so they're about the diameter of a pencil.
Okay.
That means that a bud that you're starting the plant out growing from is a strong bud and will make much nicer flowers and will grow better. And then you want to fertilize them right away because roses are heavy feeders. They like to have a very rich environment. So you want to fertilize them with a rose food, and then you also want to use a systemic insecticide that will take care of the aphids that attack roses. And you do that right away when they start growing, and then you do it again about the middle of July when you see a few aphids starting to cluster around the buds. The product I use is called 3-in-1 Rose Spray. It has not only the insecticide, but it also has fertilizer, and it has an herbicide in it that'll keep the weeds down around the roses too. So, yeah, roses are they're heavy maintenance type plants. They like to be cared for, and so you want to fertilize them, keep fertilizing them, and every time you get a new set of growth, you'll get a new set of blooms. And that's with the hybrid teas, the grandiflores and the floribundas. With the hybrid, with the shrub roses, there again, you just want to prune them back so you get all the live twigs, and then prune them back a little bit, take the fine twigs out, and you'll have a much nicer looking rose.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that advice, Vicki. I wanted to direct your attention to your right, I believe there.
Gee.
We have a birthday cake. Happy birthday. Should we sing? Happy birthday to you. Everybody. Happy birthday to you. Why am I the only one singing? Happy birthday, dear Dick. Happy birthday to you.
How to embarrass somebody. Yeah. Thank you.
With all the stuff and the great advice you've given all these years, and for the things, for the plants and whatever that you've left here for us to enjoy, this is the least we could do is get you a birthday cake for your special day.
I do appreciate it, John, and everybody here. You know, Bill and everybody, and you know, John Moser was such a great guy too when I'd come. You know, he was always out to greet us, and I'm sure he's been sorely missed around here. So, you know, thank you, and I love WBEV and the people here because they've always been friendly and helpful, and have always promoted our garden center. And what can I say?
Yeah,
you know?
Well. Happy birthday to you and many, many more. And quickly, Dick, again, what's happening at the store?
Okay, well, we've got pretty much everything there, the flowering bulbs and the bare root plants, the perennials and the annuals, and the container nursery will be open in about 3 weeks. A little early for that, but time to get your seeds started. We have a good complement of seeds, and if you have a seed, one of our seeds that are sold out, which we have several of, we do have recommendations on what are just as good or as good as the ones that are sold out. So we really have a lot of good people too. You don't have to talk to the garden doctor. We've got people that can give you good advice in all of the stores. So we try to provide not only a product but a service to our community. So store hours in Randolph are 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 on Saturday, and we're closed on Sunday, of course, in Randolph. The other stores, the hours are 8 to 6 Monday through Saturday, and 10 to 3 on Sunday. So thank you for everything, and especially for the birthday cake.
You bet. You deserve it. And we'll talk to you next week, Dick.
Thank you, John.
All right. We'll let Dick party down there in the video room for now. And